Ayan. So sa mga bahagi ng ating pag-uusapan, yung katulad po nung sinabi natin kanina, meron tayong resources available on suicide prevention and suicide first aid. We have our hotline, and then we have this first aid manual. So pag-usapan po natin, and of course our guidance counselors and as the closest mental health professional in the school for our learners. So pag-usapan po natin paano natin mapapakinabangan ito pagdating sa suicide prevention. Siguro ang una po munang tanong mga Doc and Sir Francis, siguro una po tingnan po natin kung in the first place, kasi we're talking about suicide prevention, para hopeful na tanong po muna, diretsahang tanong, can we really prevent suicides? Kasi there are some mindsets na yun na talaga yung destinasyon niya, yun na yung hangganan ng buhay ng isang tao.
Definitely, suicide is preventable, no? We have to remember na ang suicide kasi, siya yung isang end, no? Ng mahaba-habang proseso. So, bago magpapatiwaka ng isang tao, may mga nangyayari. At kung complication yan, therefore, you can actually prevent, no? Yung lahat ng pwedeng mangyari leading to this complication.
So, in addition kay sa statement ni Dr. Nadera, yes, suicide is preventable. Sometimes, the cause kasi, basically, in the studies, sinasabi nila that suicide is highly related to mental illness. But there are also kind of suicides na due to poor impulse control or due to impulsivity of a person, especially at this point in time that we are facing crisis. So may ganun din. But we can help. We can prevent suicide.
Sir Francis, would you like?
Yes, we can prevent suicide. Now we are, of course, in the school level, for example, dealing with learners. No, siguro we need to look also on the biopsychosocial aspect ng ating mga kabataan and even our clients. No, they have different backgrounds. They have unique needs, wants, psycho-emotional wounds. So again, it adds up. No, so ang daming factors na we have to consider. And as discussed ng ating mga doctors dito, we need again to look from different perspectives.
Opo. Sir Francis, susugan ko na po yung sinabi niyo kasi may ginamit na kayo na technical term, psycho, bio, social, and then multiple factors. So, mga Doc and Sir Francis, kasi minsan pag merong nabalitaan na a person dies of suicide, going back, yung sinabi po, Doc, mga Doc ni Sir Francis kanina na bio, psychosocial. Minsan kasi if a person dies of suicide, merong naririnig tayo na mga usapan din na ay masyado kasi siyang mahina o kaya kulang kasi siya sa pananampalataya, hindi kasi siya nagpe-pray. And there are various claims on why people die of suicide. Can you shed a light po doon sa tanong na yon? Bakit nga po ba, what are the reasons? Bakit nga po ba nagsisuicide? Why does a person die of suicide? Is there an answer even to that question?
Okay. Si Joy yata, si Agnes yata nahihiya eh. It's of course we always say na the person who died of suicide, siya yung best na makakapagsasabi kung bakit nga nangyari ito sa kanya, no? Pero tignan natin sa punto de vista ng risk factors. Okay? Yung mga bagay na pwedeng makakontribute. So meron yung individual factors, merong relationship factors, merong community factors, at merong health system factors. Yung health system factors parang yung sa guidance counselors. Kung wala ka namang matatakbuhan, then mas mataas yung risk, no, ng suicide. Kung wala kang guidance counselor sa school, okay? So, basically, it's difficult to say exactly kung ano yung dahilan. Pero, malalaman natin kung ano yung mga contributory doon, no, at yung possible trigger. But the main cause, the main reason, it's difficult to pinpoint one. It's always multifactorial.
Okay, so I agree. Actually, right now, kung titingnan natin, yung highest risk factor or that will point a person na talagang magsi-suicide siya or will die of suicide is actually a previous or a history of doing suicidal act. So if may history na siya, so we as nasa school system, so we should be aware of the behavior of our learners. So kung meron ng, the family will tell you that, ma'am, sir, itong anak ko po, dati uminom na siya ng Zonrox or something, or anything na may ginawa na siya. Or for example, itong anak ko po, bigla na po siyang tumatahimik, hindi na siya lumalabas, hindi na namin siya nakakausap. Dati po kasi nag-attempt na siyang magbigti. So those things are really, really red flags for all of us. As to
Sige
the
po.
other factors kasi, so it means na kailangan din yan ng support. So it's very important that we have support. So first is the family, as I mentioned, kung may nakikita na siya ng family niya, na may ganun na siyang kakaiba na kinikilos at home, or may history nga of suicidal act. So yung family must be aware, and dapat din sinasabi din niya to the teacher, for example, para mabantayan din siya at school, and to provide the necessary support for the kid. And the other support will be coming from, of course, the teacher, and of course, pwede the classmates, and kung sino man ang the guidance counselor, kung meron man at school. Although I understand not all schools, no, meron tayong guidance counselor. If not pa rin, hindi pa rin kaya, then we go to the higher na service providers like our psychologists, psychiatrists, and if in case of emergency or in crisis, our hotlines.
Mhm. Sige po, Doc, ang comprehensive na nung parang mga
Yes.
statements na binibigay natin. Nakakatuwa lang kasi if we listen to that, parang in a way parang understandable naman pala yung nangyayari at kaya siyang i-explain that way. Pero himay-himayin lang po natin kasi parang you started talking about risk factors. Maganda po yung parang sinabi ni Doc Dina kanina na only the person who dies by suicide will know the exact trigger, the exact reason, but there are multiple factors. So kung usapang prevention po pala, ibig sabihin, hindi lang po pala ito tungkol sa pag-address sa iniisip nating kaisa-isang reason ng suicide, but we have to look at all those factors.
Yeah.
Opo.
Yes, that's why preventable siya. Kasi marami ka ring entry points for prevention eh.
Yeah.
But
I think
there are main, no, there are parang may leading ways, no, to prevent. One would be restricting access. Nag-usap na rin lang tayo sa prevention, no. One is restricting access. Of course, the second one is where the guidance counselors are very important, building resilience and well-being. That's the second one. And then the third one, of course, is media, no. Responsible media reporting is very important. And then the last one, with evidence, they've found out that it's preventive, is identification, treatment, and monitoring of suicide events.
Opo. Doc, these are very helpful insights, no? I like kung paano niyo po dinescribe, binaligtad yung coin. We see a risk factor. Ay, delikado, mukhang trigger itong sitwasyon na ito na meron ng isang learner or isang teacher, magti-trigger ito ng suicide, magti-trigger ito sa kanya na mag-isip about suicide. But you turn the coin, and instead of calling it a risk factor, this time you call it an entry point for prevention.
Yes.
And that's a powerful perspective, Doc. Na hindi lang pala risk factor ito, but if you look at it another way, this is your entry point for prevention. And because there are different entry points, iba-iba rin yung mga, you can't, parang minsan kasi may messianic tendency tayo. We want to solve all those entry points.
Yeah.
Where can we start?
Walang isang taong kakayanin yan. Ano? That's why we always say suicide prevention is everybody's business. Kasi it's from an individual to a systems level. Yeah, we start with ourselves. We have to start with the belief that with our individual capacity, we can actually help someone who is in a crisis. No? Alam mo yun, yung parang lagi kong sinasabi is never underestimate your capacity to be a kind and compassionate person. We all have that capacity. We must never underestimate our capacity to help someone who is suffering, who is in a suicide crisis.
And sometimes yun po yung parang nagiging stereotype tuloy sa mental health professionals, no, na parang ay mental health professionals so parang very gentle, very makipag-usap, pero it's really about showing kindness and compassion pala, Doc, practicing that, no. Ay
You
yes,
start
Doc.
with empathy. You start with empathy. So if someone is going through something, you place yourself in that person's shoes. So you can feel how that person will react to what he is going through.
Yeah. Opo, thank you very much po, Doc. Opo, we were having a very good conversation kanina kasi parang yung comprehensive statement kanina was there are risk factors but you can prevent them. They can be entry points for prevention. And then kapag meron ng signs, pwede mo na ring ma-check yung signal na yun. So iniisa-isa lang natin ngayon, sir, para sa ating mga viewers sa Facebook, and kung may questions din sila, they can throw in their questions and we can talk about that. But Dr. Dina identified 4 practical areas or entry points for prevention. Ihuli na lang natin siguro po yung access, Doc Dina. Pero you talked about resilience, building resilience. And Sir Francis, ito yung role na meron daw ang guidance counselors. But we understand, sir, ito talagang hindi pwedeng hindi pag-usapan. We understand na limited yung number natin ng guidance counselors sa ngayon. How can we work together siguro in building the resilience of our learners? Kung hindi man ako guidance counselor, if there are other, the teachers that we have in the school, our very loving teachers, supportive teachers, how can we help in this building of resilience among our learners?
Siguro, Sir Gian, I would like to start with, you could not give what you do not have.
Yeah.
So basically, we should start also with our teachers. Now, yun nga, galing din ako ng DepEd, nasa loob ako ng DepEd. And we also hear that those things din po from our teachers. Yun nga, oftentimes would always look sa ating mga learners. Pero along the process, nakakalimutan na po natin yung ating mga sarili. Okay, so we could not give what we do not have. Now, if in building resilience, of course, we need also life skills. Now, as educators, we need to model these life skills sa kanila. But of course, having these life skills, syempre may hangganan din siya, or parang just like the elasticity, may point of breaking din siya. So, doon papasok sana yung ating programs also na at least mabawasan yung yung stress, or we can process ourselves, which also would help prevent the suicide. And of course, aside from that, we need also to promote wellness, to promote good habits and routines para din na at least ma-prevent ang suicide.
Opo. Ang ganda nung sinabi nyo, Sir Francis, kasi as far as DepEd is concerned, meron na tayong mga programs, meron ng homeroom guidance, ongoing ng training and all, development of life skills. But I think that's a very good point na we start with ourselves, and yung self-care is not just really about ourselves per se, but because we know that if we take care of ourselves, then we are able to take care of others and pass on the resilience. Doc Dina, you would like to add something, or Doc Joy?
I agree with yung sinabi ni Sir Francis, kasi it's about kanina yung dinagdag mo na we take care of ourselves because we cannot pour nga from an empty cup, and it's something kasi that will radiate. So it's something that intrapersonal, and then we go interpersonal. So if we take care of ourselves, and we will be able to take care of others better.
Ayan, opo. Thank you very much po, Doc. Let's go back po dun sa 4 starting. Kasi, Doc Dina, parang you provided the framework na on how this conversation will proceed. So, these are the risk factors, maraming iba-ibang possible reasons, but they are entry points for prevention. And 4 specific strategies that you mentioned, yung isa na nga, yung una is resilience. So, it's really developing life skills among our learners. Yung sinabi ni Sir Francis, adults modeling it for them from in their homes, in the schools. The second thing that you talked about earlier was media. So, Dina, can you share a bit about this?
Ang isa kasing preventive measure is responsible media reporting. No? Of course, this is a health issue. Media definitely is going to be a big help, no? Dito sa pag-address ng health issue na to. Kaya lang kasi it has to be responsibly handled. By responsible media handling, what I mean is we report facts, but we report probably an event, pero once lang, tama na yung isa. Huwag mo nang paulit-ulit. It cannot run forever and ever. And then whenever a suicide event is reported, what has to be highlighted is the fact that this suicide, first, i-highlight yung, okay, what was actually lost and how can this be prevented? And what can the readers do if they or someone they know is actually in a similar situation? So mas siya dun sa possibility that something can actually be done dito sa event na to. We also must not sensationalize sensationalize suicide deaths, no? So yung headline siya, yung ginagawan siya ng kakaibang caption, no? That is very dangerous sa youth, no? It can actually promote copycat suicide.
All right. So Doc, halimbawa kasi so this is kung may nanonood sa atin na partners natin from the media, I believe there are efforts din naman to educate our media partners in reporting about suicide. Pero siguro po sa majority ng ating mga nanonood, let's talk about us being citizen journalists, like everyone feels like they report about something. So yung sinabi nyo kanina, Doc, wag paulit-ulitin yung incident. Let's say there is an actual incident. How do I as a person talk about it?
Yeah.
So again, we kasi 'di ba syempre yung maraming tao na gustong nakakaalam about what happened. And especially if like right now, we have the Facebook, we have social media, and we post everything on social media.
Yeah.
Tapos as in gross, yung nakikita mo talaga kung ano yung actually nangyari. So sometimes it will trigger sa other people then. Yun nga, it's copycat suicide. And sometimes it will trigger na maiisip nila, pwede ko palang gawin yon. So that's why people will do those things then. So for us, especially for parents na, di ba supposedly we have parental guidance, so the parents should be aware that there is something going on or may recent na death by suicide. So yung dapat ini-explain din ng parent to the child na ito yung suicide, and then you tell the child if kung may problema ba siya na saying with that person who died by suicide, and then of course you have to explain that if you need anything, we are here to support you, or there are other people who's gonna be supporting you, your teachers, your classmates. And siguro kasi the media right now, it's not just media, that the traditional na media, the print and yung sa TV, but what's more na nakakatakot is the social media, kasi sila yung unfiltered, sila yung hindi natin masyadong, so sila yon. So I think it's also the role of the parents and the teachers talaga na to guide their children and to explain to the children or to the learners ano yung nangyari. So it's okay to talk about it na open. You can talk about it in class if there's an event na close to home or nasa sa campus, it's okay to talk about it. But make sure na ang pag-uusapan nyo that help is available, that suicide actually is preventable. So, yun.
In addition lang, Gian, when we talk of responsible media reporting, we are not limiting our discussion to suicide events, to deaths. We also need to do a lot of campaigns for surviving suicide. So, kunyari, ano ba to? Magpe-press release ka ba dahil World Suicide Prevention Day or dahil may namatay? Hindi eh. You have to, responsible media reporting will say, means that you talk about suicide dun sa angle na this person survived it. Okay? So, kahit na wala namang event, we talk about survival stories, success stories in prevention. That is also responsible media reporting.
oh my God, looking back in the past, let's say, years of my life, all discussions about suicide happen when there is already an incident na someone dies of
Exactly.
suicide. Pero yung sinabi ninyo, we can normalize talking about it, but in the angle of it's survivable, it can be prevented, and there are actual people who have survived suicide.
Yeah.
Sir Francis, Doc and Doc Joy or Doc Agnes and Doc Dina, kasi parang pupunta sana tayo dun sa later part pa eh. Pero nandito na tayo sa discussion na talking to learners, talking to your kids about suicide. Some teachers maybe or some parents or maybe siguro kahit yung mga friends, mga learners natin na nanonood ngayon are not very comfortable kasi feeling nila baka lalong gawin, baka lalong magka-idea or baka ako pa yung nag-push dahil pinag-usapan namin. So may ganong fear or I just really don't know what to say or baka parang sabihin nagbibiro lang. Can you give some practical tips? Let's say for isa-isa siguro learners and kung paano pag-usapan ng suicide and then how we talk about it on our own social media and then for our teachers, adults and parents. Pwede po
Siguro, yes.
Answer.
Okay, sige, pasadahan ko muna. In connection with the social media, actually, this is, yun nga sinasabi natin, aside from the suicide, unfiltered siya, the photos, and even the stories, sensationalized, parang very graphic pa yung, yung pag-report, especially sa local stations dito. For example, dito sa amin sa provinces. Ganun pa. And, well, as part of my advocacy then, from time to time, I either I'll text them or I'll call them, sabihin, can you please, and request them, or even up to the point na appealing, please blur your photos of a suicide. Yeah, kasi, yan, unfiltered eh. Especially sa ating learners, sa adolescents, usually, they would, yung time nila is with the social media eh. That's part of their socialization and at their age, no? They should socialize. And one of the platforms na nila na ginagamit is of course the social media platform. Now, if unfiltered to, we need also to check kasi baka tayo din mismo yung yung nagsi-share ng ganitong unfiltered na mga photos or stories. Sa ating as parents siguro, yes, there's a need na to discuss this one. But also we need to look from the moral side because well, pag pumasok yung different beliefs natin, baka may magkabanggaan din eh. But then again, we look this from a perspective na syempre there is something happening in us. It's a collective, kumbaga nagkapatong-patong na yan, hindi lang na-address and may trigger in some way or in one way or another. So well, it's quite sensitive, but syempre we need to start addressing this kind of situation in order to prevent it also.
Thank you, Sir Francis. Doc Joy or Doc Dina?
I think naman talaga na we have to choose our language na age appropriate, especially for our learners. Kasi for example, the kindergarten, so what do they know about death? So they don't have siguro pa the perception or they don't have the idea that death is permanent. Because according to sa natural na development of a person, of a child, talagang wala pa sila sa age that they understand the permanence of death. So we use appropriate language to talk about it. If there's an event there's a suicide in the campus or in the community, and then we also have to i-level natin sa kanila kung ano yung naiintindihan nila, and we have to actually deal with pag-usapan natin ano kaya yung nagiging reason for that person. Like for example, we have to explain that this person has been, for example, if that person has been mentally ill talaga or diagnosed with depression, which is most common for those who died by suicide. So we need to explain to the kids kung nakakaintindi na sila. But for those na children na younger, na hindi pa naman sila nakakaintindi, so I don't think that we really have to explain to them what suicide is, or we don't have to tell them that it's, kasi minsan din kasi ginagamit the parents, huwag niyong gawin yan kasi masama yan. You will be punished by God. So syempre it's gonna create something na sa mga bata. So we don't use that to explain because hindi naman siya totoo. So we don't know, 'di ba? Kasi it's a mental illness. So it's a disorder for na cause. So we don't say na it's you will be punished by God if you die by suicide, if you do something similar to that to what that person did. So we have to avoid those things.
Yeah. Well, in addition na lang siguro, when people want to talk about suicide, then we talk to them about it. Kasi mararamdaman mo naman kung ready din sila to talk about it. Pero, all of us, any community member, parents, teachers, guidance counselors, even security guards, even janitors and janitors, kapag may nagpahiwatig, we must be comfortable talking about it. Tahasan nating tatanungin, people in difficult situations like you, sometimes they no longer have reasons to live. Do you feel this way also? There are ways to ask them in a non-judgmental manner, but we need to talk about it. And I'm really thankful to DepEd that we are talking about it in this light.
Doc, punta na po tayo dun sa maganda yung, actually thank you po dun sa mga practical tips, like pagiging age-appropriate ng language, knowing yung level na ma-understand. Pero Doc Dina, gusto ko po yung sinabi ninyo na pag merong nagpapahiwatig. Yan. So siguro, kasi yung fourth point po ninyo kanina, so tapos na tayo sa resilience, media, portrayal, and then reporting of cases, how we talk about cases. Yung sinabi nyo kanina is about restricting access. This is already about the means.
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate on that, Doc? Kasi ang next question ko na is, yun na, yung part na pagpapahiwatig.
Yeah. Well, yun nga, tayo kasi nagpapahiwatig tayo. Ang mga Pinoy, ganun eh. Hindi diretso nagsasabi, kahit nga gusto mo na, sabi mo na, hindi, ayoko, di ba? Pero if we are sensitive enough, we can actually gauge, kung ano talaga yung nararamdaman ng isang tao. Well, there are warning signs of suicide, And, well, to be honest, kahit na siguro lahat ng warning signs nakita na natin at lahat ginawa na natin, sometimes it happens, na meron pa rin namamatay dahil sa suicide, but that does not mean that it's not preventable at all. So, yung pahiwatig would be the warning signs, the red flags. People start to isolate, pero iba-iba kasi. Sa mga bata, lalo na, iba yung presentation, So, hindi naman lahat iiyak-iyak, hindi naman lahat parang wala nangyari. Iba-iba. Depende dun sa tao. But common would be serious change in mood or behavior, isolation. These are actually early warning signs, talking about death.
Sorry po, doon sa isolation na part, if I have always been a loner all my life, and I stayed a loner. Pero yung isolation po na yun ba yung parang bigla na lang naging loner, so to speak? Okay.
Yes, but even if you are a loner kasi meron ka pa rin kasama, like you probably are close to one person or to the family members, diba? And then you suddenly cut off, So these are common signs, These are the warning signs. And yung nabanggit nga ni Doc kanina na, depression is actually one of the mental health conditions that may lead to suicide. Yun din, yung signs din ng depression. So, to answer your question na paano mo in relation to restricting access, kung alam mo na meron siyang ganun, meron siyang depression, and there could be means, actually, may nasasabi siya na paraan, then we have to make sure that wala siyang access sa mga paraan na yun.
Doc, is it okay to be specific about it? I mean, kasi for example, you know that the person is taking meds. So you will really be firm na let me handle your meds, ganon.
Yes, we do
To that
that.
extent.
Yes, we do
Alright.
that to many students. We talk to the students and we tell them, I am concerned that you might actually take the meds because you mentioned that you have that tendency or you've done it before. Is it okay if I call somebody and tell them that you have a prescription? Or can I email this prescription to your father or to your mother, whoever is the supporter? Kasi sa mental health law, meron na tayong ina-appoint na supporter, no? For any mental health client. So that one is preventing access.
Okay,
Restricting.
so it's really yung parang practical na on the side na, especially if you already saw signs, warning signs yung ginamit niyo po kanina. I like yung sinabi niyo po, Doc, na iba-iba ang representation per person. Merong masaya pa rin and then hindi mo napansin, meron namang biglang lumungkot. Pero there are, yung common, parang sabi niyo po, there's something common among them. And one of that is the person really talking about the plan already. And sometimes
that's not actually common, but that is possible.
That is possible. Okay. So some will not, but if someone does, meron ako naririnig, Doc, and siguro pwede rin po itong masagot ng ating guidance counselor or ng ating mental health crisis hotline na nakaka-receive ng actual calls.
Yeah.
There is a belief that if a person already talks about suicide, it's likely daw na, ay, buti sinasabi niya. Ibig sabihin niyan, hindi niya itutuloy.
Actually, there's also one thing that I want to discuss, and good thing na bring up mo yan, Gian. There's, apart from suicide, there's also another term, yung self-harm. These are especially the teenagers or the younger kids na sinasaktan yung sarili. Some of them, although it's really very sinasabi nga na for lang siya, no, attention seeking, but for us, for mental health practitioners or professionals, we do take it seriously. So if someone says na I'm gonna kill myself, I'm gonna use my medication, I'm gonna mag-overdose ako, then we believe that person. So we really have to, we believe na gagawin niya. Kesa sa it's kung hindi mo siya papaniwalaan, it might be too late. So nasaan na yung prevention natin?
Yeah.
So it's better to act na we believe na gagawin niya until proven otherwise, based on our own assessment, clinical assessment.
Yes, tama po yung sinasabi ni Doc Agnes, no. We need to seryosohin natin talaga yung pag sinabi niyang magpapakamatay ako, definitely, whether it's a joke or not, we should have that sensitivity na talagang, it's a matter of life and death, kumbaga. So, kasi sa atin, baka, yun nga, lang yan, arte lang yan, drama lang, chos lang yan, parang ganun ba? But again, if it becomes a habit, we will, hindi na natin malalaman if talagang, again, totoo ba to or not? And again, yung suicide prevention. And of course, yung sinabi ni Doc, yung sa NSSI, yung non-suicidal self-injury, yes, usually, marami yan sa ating adolescents. And for example, as a teacher, if you're sensitive enough, yan, titingnan mo na yan. Kasi dati, syempre, nasa wrists yan. May bandana, may panyo. But eventually, alam na nila kung saan itatago yan under their skirts or their pants and so on. So for our educators, for our parents, we need also to look on that aspect, ang NSSI or yung non-suicidal self-injury po.
Many would do cut no sa NSSI. So restricting access will also mean making sure na wala silang anything to cut themselves with. So yan yung mga paraan. And then restricting access will also mean you have better designs ng mga buildings mo so that there is no dangerous part, no, dun sa building mo. May overhang siguro yan so that if it's from one floor down, sasabit siya. Hindi na pwede yung mga designs na katulad dati, no? maraming, as I said, it's an entire system.
Opo. Doc, na-appreciate ko yung flow ng conversation natin. I initially plotted questions pero parang mas maganda naging natural yung flow natin. We started with suicide can be prevented. There are multiple factors that contribute. There's no single reason, and if there is, it's only the person who dies by suicide who can tell us that. But these risk factors are kung i-reverse natin siya, they are actually entry points for prevention. And we can address those factors through different means. And it's a community effort. Hindi siya effort lang ni guidance counselor, hindi siya effort lang ng psychiatrists, hindi siya effort lang ng teachers, ng mental health professionals. Everyone can contribute to the prevention of suicide. And then we talked about the signs that a person may be suicidal or may be already thinking about suicide, na iba-iba siya ng representation per person, pero it will be obvious, especially if you are always with the person. Makikita mo yung change, yung dramatic change, and there are possible then na some will even talk about a plan. And then sabi niyo po kanina, when we begin to see these signs already, we can freely approach this person with empathy, without judgment, and we can plainly ask, are you really thinking about it? Are you planning? And if they say yes, yung maganda yung sinabi niyo po kanina na any thought of suicide must be taken seriously. Hindi siya, kahit mukha siyang joke, we always think that it's serious and that they're really considering it. And then yung how we can keep the person safe. Nagbigay kayo po ng practical aspects. How do we restrict access doon sa means through which the person can die of suicide? Where does professional help come in?
Well, you keep the person safe. No, you hear somebody is in a suicide crisis. You must make sure that this person is in a safe place, safe environment, nothing na ma-access niya to actually hurt himself or herself. Now, how about professional help? Okay, so the professional help will depend actually, kung alam natin na meron na siyang mental health condition that predispose this person to hurt himself or herself, then mental health consultations can actually be done. We have to ask this person, how do you want to be helped? Do you want me to talk to someone? Do you want me to connect you to a guidance counselor? Do you want me to connect you to a psychologist? And then we have to admit ourselves din. Kunyari, ikaw, nanay, sabihin mo, sa totoo lang, hindi ko na alam kung anong gagawin ko. Gusto mo ba na humingi tayo ng tulong? Kanino mo gustong humingi ng tulong? Yon. And then actually, that jump starts that conversation in asking help. Kahit anong help, sa pare, sa pastor, as long as help is sought. Okay? Mental health worker, maybe the barangay health worker, I don't know, a trusted person. Basta you need to jumpstart that conversation that help is available.
And maybe dito na rin po pumapasok yung ating crisis line, Doc.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Actually, the crisis hotline is just one of the efforts of the government. For suicide prevention. Pero yun nga, lahat tayo, pwede tayong tumulong. We can prevent suicide. So yung nandun ka na sa dulo, yun na yung part that you need help na if someone is really in crisis, na on the brink na siya talaga of suicide, then there's help. Pwede mong tawagan. But in the crisis hotline kasi, will since nandito siya sa Metro Manila, so although it's available, anyone in the Philippines or outside of the Philippines can call. Pero kasi, syempre, lang siya, crisis hotline, we will help the person who is attending to the person in crisis. We may also refer the person in crisis to a nearest na provider, the service provider for support. So, ganun ang ginagawa ng crisis hotline. But then, at the end of the day, kung saan siya pinakamalapit at saan siya most comfortable, dun mo siya dadalhin. Unless, of course, if there's another mental condition, like for example, a psychosis, just syempre the person himself or herself cannot decide na for himself. So that's when we need somebody else to decide for the person.
Of course, from the end of guidance counselors, especially in schools, yung isang concern namin, syempre, kakaunti lang guidance counselors. However, okay, from the practical point of view, syempre, pag mga ganito, especially yung suicide plus may underlying psychological or clinical na aspect, then we have to refer that to a higher professional. Because, of course, that's beyond our capacity as counselors. We can identify in one way or another, but it's beyond ng aming practice. Syempre, as counselors, yung magagawa namin is on the promotion and the prevention side. And of course, on the aftercare. In case na, for example, yung isang learner natin or isang teacher natin, may history na of attempted suicide, for example, then your mental health professionals, alam din nila so that they can help. Kung baga, at least, for example, sa learner, the counselor can talk with the teacher or the teachers, for example, na some things should be given or may mga considerations na we have to take. Especially, of course, yung support, kailangan din ng learner. So, as an aftercare, bridging from yung naranasan niya, then pagbalik niya sa school, that's where also counselors and of course our teachers can help.
Sir, ang maganda yung sinabi niyo po, no, na meron talagang delineation ng role. At maganda rin yung sinabi ni Dr. Dina kanina na at least jumpstart yung help. Kung kanino willing magpatulong just to jumpstart. Pero ang maganda sa atin sa DepEd, Sir Francis, is our teachers are being trained on homeroom guidance. So kahit papaano meron tayo dong mental health topics, I understand. And then meron tayong PFA,
yes,
psychological first aid providers trained through our mental health and psychosocial support services program led by the DRRMS. So we have these people already. Parang gusto ko lang i-address sana ngayon, sir, yung sa guidance counselor kasi meron pa bang mindset? Kasi ang nagiging viral sa Facebook yung idea na, ay, mag-guidance ka. So, ang tipong nag-guidance, yung mga nagmi-misbehave na mga estudyante, tas parang punishment. At i-stretch ko na rin po, no, pagdating naman sa, for example, magpapacheck up sa psychologist or psychiatrist, meron ding mindset na, ay, bakit? Meron, ganito ba siya? Or merong label agad and meron agad mga attached stigma.
Yeah,
so
stigma,
how do we encourage our viewers right now to seek help amid all those misconceptions about the mental health professional?
Yes, thank you so much, Sir Gian, for that points. No, now, of course, with the mental health law, siguro, yeah, we have mental health professionals, but again, when it comes to mental health, it should be a whole of the systems approach, and of course, papasok din yung ating community-based approach, no? And of course, yung mga mental health professionals, merong tiering din. Oh. So, sa amin, sa guidance counselors, we have limitations. If it's beyond our capacity as counselors, we then refer that to an appropriate professional, either psychiatrist or psychologist or sa ating mga social workers when it comes to abuse and yan. Sa kanilang practice, no? Pero syempre, from our end, yan, we still have that stigma na yung guidance counselors are disciplinarians. And right now, of course, on behalf of the BGCA, what we're doing right now is intensified advocacy. We advocate na ito yung practice of guidance and counseling na, of course, part of our services are nasa mental health and the other part nasa career guidance or on the career development. So actually that's the gist of the practice of guidance and counseling. And of course,
so sir, yung traditional mindset na discipline officer na taga-parusa, we are already gearing away from that old views
Yeah.
of the guidance counselor.
Yes,
Oo.
hindi po 'yon. That's the reason po na naisa batas yung RA 9258 to professionalize the practice of guidance and counseling.
Opo. Sir, quick
Yes,
question na lang. It's the
Teddy.
new norm. Opo, sorry po. It's the new normal. How can the learners, let's say, ngayon bakasyon pa naman, but when classes open, hindi na sila makakapunta sa guidance counselor's office. Meron tayong mga learners na excite pa man din siguro na, ay, hindi pala tagapagparusa ang guidance counselor. Pwede pala akong kumatok sa kanya and mag-confide. And they're excited to do that. But we're now under the new normal. How can we reach out to our guidance counselors po?
Yes, that's very challenging and papasok din yun ang issue ng connectivity. As far as I'm concerned, marami po kaming mga guidance counselors na nasa provinces and the school base na they have their own pages, they're using or utilizing their Facebook accounts and even providing numbers so that maka-connect yung ating mga learners. But of course, not all mayroong internet connectivity or may load sa ganong aspeto. Siguro isa din itong malaking challenge sa amin, but we can only give as we have, for example. But again, we're offering as much as we can ng guidance services, mental health and career guidance services sa ating mga learners and even to the general public po.
Opo. And that's one of our things na ipina-finalize din sa ating learning continuity plan, sir, with various offices inside DepEd.
Yes.
Para doon sa mental health. Pagdating naman po sa psychiatrists, Doc, yung fear to approach isa stigma, and then maybe yung perception din kasi resources din to some, that's the limitation. Paano po natin ma-overcome yung challenges na yon when people already need to seek psychological or psychiatric help?
Mhm. Right now, there are different organizations naman offering free services. So right now then, this pandemic kasi na-limit din the face-to-face na clinics, so nawala din siya. So we offer na yung virtual clinics. So there are virtual clinics. Sometimes nga lang medyo pricey with other other service providers, but we have actually those in government. There are free services for those who will be availing of our psychiatric services. So free naman po tayo. So hindi naman kailangan nilang magbayad. So yun nga, wala pa nga lang munang face-to-face. It's also a challenge for us.
Yeah. Sa UP Diliman kasi, psychiatric and psychological consultations are free for students, for current students, staff, and faculty. So that is actually improving the access, no? Kasi even if it's available, if it's not accessible because of the price, then parang wala din di ba? Yung affordability, no? So, swerte na lang din ngayon dahil students can still access, no, yung free services basta enrolled sila. And same with the employees and the faculty.
Maraming salamat po. I like how we are ending. Habang babalik tayo kasi sa simula as I see the flow of our discussion po, we are now talking about availability and accessibility of resources. And we admit as a nation na, especially in comparison, let's say, sa mas advanced na sa mental health services, marami pa tayong challenges. But then we go back dun sa discussion natin kanina na dahil nga po progression din naman minsan ang mga, progression ang mental health conditions. Sometimes they can be prevented at the early stage, at the start, yung meron palang warning signs. So we go back to the risk factors. So we go back to the entry points the entry points of prevention. So ang ganda lang po ng pagkakabuo ng cycle ng naging usapan natin na now that we have this access, we have this issue of access and availability and accessibility, we do our best dun sa part na yon. But at the same time, wherever we are, pwede rin tayo makakontribute dun sa stage 0 pa lang, sa stage 1 pa lang, which is addressing the risk factors. Which you started with as simple as being expressing empathy sa iyong workmates, showing kindness, and those things.